Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So here's another deck profile for you guys today. This time it's on an Azamina Illusion Chimera. So yeah, it's been well over a month since I last built this deck, and I decided it should go through some changes, especially now that we're getting crossover breakers literally tomorrow if you go to an official OTS store. And yeah, let me just say that the meta is going to warp big time, especially because like Ryzeals are now going to be in the format. Maliss is going to be in the format. Maliss might actually be my worst enemy between the two. And yeah, that's going to be kind of scary because like it's a very heavy on banishment, and my deck does not really like banishment as much as you might think. But anyway, I figured I'd adjust my deck, especially the side deck, and that's why it took so long for me to bring this out to you guys, because like I really needed to consider like what do I play in the side deck to not only deal with like again Ryzeal and Maliss, but you know, just to help me deal with the meta as a whole, because like there's still going to be some very good competitive decks. Like Snake Eye Fire King is still very powerful. Tenpai Dragon is still very powerful. Yubel, you know, I can go on, honestly. So I wanted to make sure my deck could be as versatile as it possibly could, and I think I may have found the build that best suits that. So anyway, it's a 42 card deck, and yeah, I was able to reduce it down just by a little bit, so just so I can maintain consistency, and yeah, let's go and get started. So, starting off with the main deck. Playing 3 copies of Nightmare Apprentice. So, as you all guys know, you just pitch a card to special summon this card. Searches out any illusion monster you want, so really amazing opener. And honestly, as long as you see this, or any of the other 2 cards, like 3 copies of Mirror Sword Knight and 3 copies of Cornfield Codal, it's literally full combo. This tags out into anything that lists Chimera Fusion in its text, in which case you're mostly going to go for the Big Wing Berfament. And Codal can search out any monster that has Chimera Fusion in its text, so in which case you're going to search out the Mirror Sword Knight. So like I said, as long as you see any one of these, you got it, full combo. 3 copies of Gazelle. This basically searches either a Chimera Fusion or a level 5 Fiend monster. So one or the other. And if it uses Fusion material, you can add any one illusion monster from your deck to your hand. And that seems to be the trend here, is like you're mostly going to be searching illusions a lot. Even though these guys aren't illusions themselves, they're still like part of that strategy, you know? 2 copies of Big Wing Berfament, my personal favorite of this engine, simply because he's broken. If he's normal or special summon, you can add both a level 4 beast monster and a Chimera Fusion, so this searches out both cards. And if it's used as fusion material, he's monster reborn for any illusion monster. So yeah, Big Wing Berfament, it's a pretty cracked card as long as it goes through. So yeah. Next up, 1 copy of Emissary from the House of Wax. I've actually considered siding this over maining it. It's simply because it's a searchable hand trap that I mostly just use for the Tenpai matchup. So like Tenpai Dragons, you know, this is probably like a card that can basically hose them down, especially because like it keeps them from OTKing you. And if you time it just right, you know, it gets to the point where like once they end their battle phase, all their attack position monsters will be negated, and they can't change their battle positions. Plus, they can't be used as fusion, synchro, exceeds, or link material. So yeah, Wax is just crazy. And since it's an illusion monster, like most of them, they're going to have the gimmick where they can't really be destroyed in battle. So yeah, Emissary is just so busted. 1 copy of Master Tau. You know, just like if it's sent to the graveyard, it can basically monster reborn any one of your illusions. Yeah, it locks you into illusions for the duration of the turn. Well, summoning them from the graveyard, I mean. But I mean, that's not too bad, considering that that's what our focus is anyway. So, yeah. 2 copies of DS Bellstar. I was playing this at 3 last time, but because we are on 3 wanted, I figured, you know what, 2 is just fine. I've actually seen some builds that play this at just 1, which is kind of surprising, but I mean, I can see why. Especially if they're playing like a full playset of Deception. Like, I feel like, you know what, if you're going to be on 3 wanted and 3 Deception, maybe you only do just need the 1 Dia Bellstar. But personally, like I said, I like it at 2, just because, like, it's always good to have a good backup copy. And then to round up our main lineup, 1 Dia Bells. It's anti-spell fragrance. You can hard summon this now, especially that we do have multiple Sinful Spoil cards now. So, yeah, Dia Bells is pretty strong. So, definitely something to look at. And it's also great for disruption, too. And funny enough, I didn't realize this, but one of the Azamina monsters, the fusion ones I mean, can actually get you some value if you pop it with your Dia Bells' effect. So something to consider. So and I'll elaborate a little bit more on that. So anyway, let's go and keep moving. All right, so for my main spell lineup, obviously going to be playing 3 copies of Chimera Fusion. This card's pretty broken. It's not once per turn. The only thing that is once per turn, it's his recursion ability, where as long as you control a Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast, you can add itself back to hand, but other than that, you can basically fusion summon as many times as you want. And that can happen quite a lot, so just letting you guys know that now. 3 copies of 1A, just so we can add Diabell Star from our deck or graveyard to our hand, so a lot of great application. Also has a graveyard effect, which some people tend to forget about. You banish this, place a Sinful Spoils card from your graveyard to the bottom of the deck, and then draw a card. And Deception is a Sinful Spoils card. Speaking of which, 2 copies of that. I played this at 1 last time, just because, like, at the time, 1 was feasible. But for consistency, I decided to bump it up to 2. I may bump it up to 3 later on, because I do have a whole playset. But again, I like 2 because, like, I feel like 2 Diabell Star, 2 Deception is really nice. And since we are, like I said, on 3 wanted, you can potentially cycle these cards out. So I felt like I didn't want to go too overboard with it, And to go along with this engine, 1 copy of the Hollowed Azamina. Just reveal one of the Azamina fusion monsters, send Deception, and special summon that fusion monster, and it does count as a fusion summon, so that's pretty nice. And this card is also not once per turn. I think the only thing that is the recycling a bit, the effect, but the ability to, special summon one of those fusion monsters is not. So yeah, I don't know why they did that again, but it's really cool that it's got that effect. 1 Azamina Adapter. Some people don't play it. I like it because you can activate this during your opponent's main phase too, so in response to something. So yeah, Azamina Adapters comes up, and it's also essentially a monster reborn. So why not, right? And of course, the 1 Called by the Grave. For my non-engine, I'm playing 3 copies of Ash, that's still one of the best hand traps ever. 3 Molcharmi Fuolos. I'm happy I finally got a playset of this. I'm pretty sure some of those who saw my community post, yeah, thank you for the comments. Wish I had Perulia as well, but I mean, I think Fuolos is fine. I mean, it's pretty versatile. Yeah, Perulia is going to be arguably be the better card against the Ryzeals, but against Maliss, this is also not too bad. 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet. This card is going to be extra good, especially against the Ryzeal matchup. So definitely a great card going second, as well as 3 copies of Imperm. Like all just fantastic cards, in my opinion. Now, if you don't have access to Fuolos, you can still, in fact, play 3 copies of Fantastical Dragon Phantasme. That card's also going to be pretty strong against the Maliss, since, they're all Link monsters. And, of course, there's some other hand trap options as well. In fact, Ghost Ogre is something to consider, too, because, like, a lot of people are saying that Ghost Ogre is going to be seeing a lot of play in the coming format. And honestly, I can kind of see why, so don't scoff at Ghost Ogre. Definitely give it a try if you want to. But anyway, that's it for the main deck. Now moving on to the extra deck. So the only real adjustments to the extra deck I made was that I bumped Berthmit, the Mythical King of Phantom Beasts, to 2, and bumped Chimera, the King of Phantom Beasts, to 1. So, like, I decided, like, between the 2, this one's going to be the one you're going to make the most. Like, yeah, the hand ripping is still cool, but it's also considerably risky. But, I mean, depending on the right matchup, it can come up. But again, most of the time, you're just going to want them to, basically bring back one of your monsters. So, yeah, like, I feel like Berthmit's going to be the one that's going to be, like, the main combo piece, The 1 Chimera, the Illusion Beast, I still love this card. Great to enable the OTK, and again, to permanently negate a monster's effect and power them down to 0 is cracked. And plus, it gets multiple attacks so long as you use a certain number of illusion monsters. So yeah, that's gonna be pretty relevant in the long run. 1 Guardian Chimera, still a great disruption piece as well. Lets you draw cards too, which is really nice. 1 Magnum Reliever, another good disruption, and also cycles back your Chimera Fusion if you need to. Playing 1 of each of the Azamina, so 1 Soul Reshkaton, which targets 1 card on the field and sends it to the grave, so does not destroy, so pretty important. 1 Ilya Sylvia, this is the Omni Negate. My favorite, Mu Recaligo. It's a searcher, and if it's destroyed by battle or destroyed by a card effect, and keep in mind, it doesn't actually have to be destroyed by an opponent's card effect. That's actually a fact that I kind of overlooked. So let's say you have Diabells and this on the field. As soon as your opponent sets a card, you can use Diabells, pop this, pop the card your opponent just set, and this card will get you an additional search. So yeah, Mu Recaligo has a lot of excellent value, so I definitely like it for that very reason. And 1 copy of Moa Regina. Funny enough, you can actually make Soul Reshkaton and Moa Regina both by Chimera Fusion without the need of using the Hollowed Azamina, especially for Moa Regina, because that one would require 2 Sinful Spoil cards to make. But yeah, you could actually just hard make this with 1 illusion monster plus any 1 level 6 or higher Fiend monster, in which case this Berthmit Fusion is level 6, so Just giving you guys the little wink wink there. But anyway, moving on. One Chaos Angel, you know, who doesn't love Chaos Angel? We actually can make this very easily. We have level 6 monsters, we have level 4 monsters, so might as well, right? 1 SP Little Knight, 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, you know, just great for removal, and 1 X Kotaga. Another card I have considered was Mech Knight Crusadia Avermax. And the reason for that is simply because it's something in my side deck, but, you know, like, I still like having a good board breaker, especially one that can't really be responded to. But again, like, Avermax is definitely something to consider as well. And again, I'll elaborate that in just a second. And I've even considered the Silhouette Rabbit thing, just because, you know, but, you know, I didn't want to go too far past the 40 card mark, so the extra deck spacing is already kind of tight as it is. But anyway, for the side deck, 3 Droll and Lockbird. It's going to be a really important side card to play right now, especially against like Ryzeals. Like as I mentioned, they do a lot of searching. Even Snake Eyes, you know, have a rough time with this. So, like, I feel like Snake Eyes is still going to be a top competitor. So yeah, Droll and Lockbird does have its uses. Against the Maliss matchup, 3 copies of Chaos Hunter. I decided this over Lancia simply because Lancia kind of conflicts with my deck as well, especially because like Sword Knight and Kotal are basically my negates, and they have to be banished to do that. So yeah, I feel like Chaos Hunter is going to be way better because like it only affects the opponent. Plus, funny enough, we do have a way to kind of cheese this out without the need of using her effect to summon itself. So we can just basically like Monster Reborn it off of either one of the fusion monsters. And it's also free fodder for like Chimera Fusion because it is a Fiend monster conveniently. So yeah, there are ways. I mean, sometimes you will have to discard a card to summon it, but I mean, if you can like cheat it out, why not, right? But anyway, moving on. 1 King Tiger Wango still, you know, to deal with Yubel and Flanderies. 1 The End of Anubis, just because, you know, graveyard effects are annoying, and I don't like Bystials touching my graveyard, so yeah, this card is pretty cool. And 1 Barrier Statue, this is making a comeback. So this is the card I was talking about earlier for why I wanted to play Avermax, because like, this against Ryzeals is rough, because like, they're going to have to hard normal summon one of their monsters just to get over this thing. So especially against, I believe it's X is the one that sends Xyz monster from their extra deck to the graveyard. Yeah, I think that's the right one. So that way you can kind of just avoid the Mirror Logic Aggregator. And yeah, that's a pretty neat little tech there, you know? And considering that deck's all light monsters too, so that's also another thing to consider. So again, that's actually why I was considering maining it. So, but let me know in the comments what you guys think. But anyway, let's round up our spells. So 3 Cosmic Cyclone. I feel like this card's going to be pretty good, especially against Centurion, or, again, going back to Ryzeals, they do have that field spell. And, yeah, it was like, a lot of decks are, like, taking advantage of stuff like that, so I definitely rather just get rid of the card for good, and so forth. And finally, 3 copies of D-Barrier. No need to explain why this is here, so, yeah. But anyway, that rounds out the deck profile. Be sure to stick around if you want to check out the test hand and combo video. It's just going to give you guys a brief look of how this deck functions. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in then. So just give me 1 second here. Hey guys, so welcome to the test hand portion of this video. And yeah, thank you guys for sticking around. So I just wanted to give you guys a general rundown of how this deck works. You know, just to give you guys a basic combo line. And generally just to see like what your end board should look like whenever you're playing this deck, especially if you're looking to build this deck. This deck's a lot of fun. I would definitely recommend it. And like I said, there are budget alternatives to certain cards. Like if you don't have Fualos, just play Phantasme. Phantasme is a great option. Or you can just play Ghost Ogre. Ghost Ogre is nothing to scoff at right now, especially because I heard it's going to be really good in the coming format. So I might make some arrangements to see if I can somehow squeeze it in. But for now, my deck's just going to stay the way it is. But anyway, let me go and give this deck a nice good shuffle here. And yeah, we'll go and get started. All right, so let me see here. Hopefully we get something good, and let's see. All right, so let's see what our opening hand looks like. We got, okay, Deception right off the gate, so not too bad. It's a card that, you know, if you open up with it, great. That should help you out in the long run, so let's see what else we got. Okay, Imperm, good for Disruption. Wanted, and as well, oh, great, 2 copies of Imperm. And 1 copy of Nightmare Apprentice. Okay, so there's definitely a lot I can do with this. So let's go ahead and see what we can do. All right, so first things first, let's go and activate Wanted. Just because, like, yeah, we can get our access to our Diabell Star right from the get-go. In which case, yeah, let's go and grab her. And this is kind of where you need to consider, like, which is the better option right now. Do you want to go ahead and summon out the Diabellstar just so you can get a guaranteed Deception? And we already have one in our opening hand, so is it really necessary at this point? Well, that's an interesting thing, right? We also have Nightmare Apprentice, which is arguably going to be the better play right now, considering that, yeah, we can get access to our Chimera line. We already have Deception, like I said just now, and like I said, there's just so much we can do. So I think what we're going to go ahead and do is actually we're going to do this first. We're going to pitch the Diabellstar. We're going to special summon out Nightmare Apprentice. Use the effect to add any one illusion monster from our deck to our hand. In which case, I think we all know what the obvious choice is going to be. It's going to be the Cornfield Codal. Go and use the effect just so we can have that additional negation for later. And now we're going to add our copy of Mere Sword Knight. Now, opponent's probably going to think, like, how come you didn't summon out Diabellstar just to get Deception? Well, he doesn't know we have it, so... But again, we're not going to focus on what-ifs. We're just going to go ahead and, like I said, just got to work with what I got, and I should still be able to get the end result that I'm looking at right now. So, anyway, now we're going to go and run out the Mere Sword Knight. That's going to be our normal summon. I'm going to tag out into a Big Wing Baphomet now. And this is why I love this combo so much. Alright, so yeah. Bring out our boy, bring Big Wing Baphomet. Use the effect to add both the Gazelle as well as a Chimera Fusion, because it does search out both cards. So, yeah, now we got a lot of good value here. And then from here, we can go ahead and activate Deception. We're going to go and use the Deception effect. We're actually going to go and sack off the Nightmare Apprentice to add one Azamina spell or trap from our deck to our hand. In which case, going to go and add up the main one, the one hollowed Azamina, if I can find it. Oh, here it is. Perfect. All right. And now what we can do is we're going to go and activate the hollowed Azamina. And we do have a couple of options. We could go ahead and activate the what do you call it? Or not activate, summon out the Omnigate. Or we can also summon out the Murikaigo just so we can get yet another search. And like I said, the options are pretty good. And you can do basically whatever you want with this. Personally, I would probably go with this simply because we actually do have a way to kind of like recycle the negating effect. So I think that's what we're going to go ahead and do. We're going to go and reveal Ilya Sylvia. We're going to sack off Deception. And this does count as our fusion summon, so that's pretty nice. And now what we're going to go ahead and do is activate Chimera Fusion. In this case, we're going to go and fuse Big Wing Baphomet and Gazelle. And we're actually going to go ahead and summon out Baphomet, the Mythic King of Phantom Beast. So, yeah, great card overall. So now we open up our Chain Link. So we'll go Chain Link 1 Baphomet, Chain Link 2 Gazelle, Chain Link 3 Big Wing Baphomet. And we are actually going to go ahead and special summon out our... we could probably go for Sword Knight again, just so we can have follow for the next turn. Because like I said, it just tags out into basically anything. So yeah, let's just do that. We'll go for the Mere Sword Knight. And we can still get its negate, thankfully, on the field, so that's also pretty nice. And then off of the Gazelle, we're actually going to go in and add our copy of Diabell's. Yeah, Diabell's is pretty good. And then off of the Baphomet, we're going to go ahead and send off our Master Tau. Master Tau effect, we're going to go ahead and just special summon any one illusion from our graveyard. In which case, let's go and bring out the... Yeah, let's just go and bring out the Nightmare Apprentice. I know that might seem like a waste, but I mean, that's not too bad, all things considering. It just adds additional fodder, which is always nice. And then finally, we're going to go ahead and hard special summon our Diabells because we do have a Sinful Spoils card, 2 of them in fact, so that's pretty cool. And then from there, what else can I do? That should be like, we can basically just set these. Oh, actually, before I forget, we're going to go and use the effect of our Chimera Fusion. So as we do have a Chimera, the Flying Mythical Beast, we can just add this to our hand. And then from here, I'm going to set 1, 2, and 3. And yeah, we can proceed to the end phase. On end phase, because Deception was sent to the graveyard while face up, it resets itself to the field, so we'll just set it here. So yeah, this is actually not a bad board, all things considering, because like, funny enough, we actually have other ways to kind of like disrupt our opponent So like Diabelle's like it's an anti-spell fragrance on legs. We have an Omni Negate. And honestly, like if something were to happen to any one of these cards, we could always go into something like this. Oh, I know what we can go into. Go Chimera Fusion, go Baphomet, and probably the Nightmare Apprentice. And again, this is just an example. It's not like, I'm just saying like if something, like if you need to go into something kind of big, we can go into Mo Regina, because he can actually be made with any level 6 or higher Fiend monster, as well as an Illusion monster, so that's pretty good. You could also go into Soul Reshkatan, just to get it like additional disruption. And like I said, Sword Knight basically just tags out into another Big Wing Baphomet, so we'll have value plus follow for the next turn, so that's going to be pretty relevant in the long run. Because like once we get cards into our hand, we could also go access to our Chimera or Guardian Chimera as well. So like I said, the options are there. There's a lot of cool things you can do with this. So like, let me just go backtrack a second here. So like during our opponent's draw phase, tag out, like as I just mentioned, go into Big Winged. Where is he? Oh, there it is. And then Big Wing gets our copy of Gazelle and Chimera. And again, this is during the opponent's turn, by the way. There, simple as that. We got additional value. And again, at any point, if we need to like negate something with Ilya Sylvia, it tributes itself. Funny enough, we could actually Monster Reborn this off the effect of Big Wing Baphomet, because it is technically properly fusion summoned thanks to the Hallowed Azamina, which is why that card is so broken. So yeah, this is pretty nuts. So like I said, like there's so many things you can do, and that's just what I wanted to share with you guys today. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will catch you guys again next time.